Hello everyone and welcome back to the second of the Runners series, the Running Warehouse Community Talk, obviously with Running Warehouse Australia. You're with me, Nathan, and again I have with me Stu. And today we're going to have a little chat about nutrition, answer some questions. We're going to go through some of our favourite new releases as well in the running space. And then we have a little bit of a Ballarat Marathon announcement to make as well.
Yep, some very exciting news, but good to be back.
Exactly. All right, first up, I reckon we go through new releases which we're excited about. Stuart, what are yours?
There's a few. I mean, we're coming to the end of the year. Generally, things are sort of wrapping up for a lot of brands, but some brands sneak in a few little releases now. I'd say probably the one I find most exciting at the moment, and according to our customer service, the amount of calls they're getting, it'd be the Adidas Evo SL. I think it's a pretty cool model. I think pricing's right, and it's something that maybe fills a bit of a hole in the market at the moment.
Yep, definitely agree with that one. That one is going to be a hot commodity to get it on your foot. I'm excited about Mizuno Mystery Shoe, which I don't think we're allowed to name just yet, but supercritical midsole. I think it's going to be really cushioned underfoot, offer your really soft underfoot feel for everyday runs.
Yeah, like Mizuno, I think they've been coming along. Their racing stuff's really cool. You know, they brought out the Zen earlier in the year, the Vista earlier in the year. That was been a really, really good shoe for them. So then they've come along with later this month, that shoe will be available for everyone, and I think, you know, it's another really good option for everyone.
Do you have another release which you're excited about?
What else? I think Adidas actually have a couple. So Adidas are coming out. They've got the Evo SL. They've also got the Adios Pro 4, which, you know, that's a wicked racing shoe. You've got a wicked training shoe. So they've got two good models. I think the 1080 just dropping, that was a big improvement. You know, some people got lucky because it came out just before the sale period in Australia. So people managed to nab a bit of a deal there. But I think that's a really good shoe for the back half of the year.
Yeah. The Adidas Adios Pro 4, I've got to run in that myself, and that will be, I think, an unbelievable shoe when it comes to market. I think that in combination with the SL is going to be great. I'm going to go not a shoe here as well, but I'm going to go a watch. I think the Coros Pace Pro, people have been asking Coros for an AMOLED watch for ages, and they've just released it as well. So I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, I don't get too into the tech. I actually think that I would go for a watch that's more simple, but I know people love all the tech, all the details on these watches where you're getting much better display, so I can see why people are excited about that.
Stu, you got to give the people what they want.
I am fine with the most basic information. I just run.
We know you're old school. All right, well, let's jump into some nutrition then. Basics. Stu, you want to talk us through the basics of nutrition?
Yeah, well, I think nutrition gets very scary when you walk into a store and you see the colourful gels and the chews and everything all over the wall, and you've been told by your whole training group that you need to fuel for a marathon, but where do you start? So I think we should maybe go through just a few simple guidelines of what we would recommend to customers, how you can sort of break down when you're preparing for a race or you know, even in training, where to start and how we can get you sort of on the right track there. So generally speaking, there's two sort of fuel sources you can use with running. So you've got your fat, which, although on some of the Kenyans it may not seem like it, there is an endless supply. So your fat, you have enough to keep you going all day, every day, even the leanest of athletes. But the one downside to fat as an energy source is it's slow. So you can't maintain using fat at higher intensities. It's a slow fuel. It works while you're walking. You know, your ultra runners, a lot of ultra runners will tap into sort of fat stores and stuff for their events. But once you start going a bit faster, so this is where we're looking at, you know, most of the race distances, your marathon, your half marathon, your 10K, carbohydrates is your main fuel source. So that's when we're starting to look at maybe we need a fuel. So carbohydrates are really fast, but unlike fats, there is an endless supply. So your body can probably store somewhere around sort of hour 15, hour and a half. So for your fast guys, they can get through, you know, even a half marathon probably without too much. But for most people, your half marathon and your marathon, you're going to have to start thinking about taking some fuel on board during the race.
Yeah, and once you start using them, like say you get to the race, you're at full, if we're talking like a car fuel tank, you start using them, it's very hard to get it back up to full. You can always top it up a little bit, but you never want to kind of take it to empty either, I find. Otherwise, you're just going to be in the danger zone.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's no way, you're not going to keep up with how much you're losing, but it just stemming the flow a bit. So there's no way you're going to be able to consume enough during a race to compete with what you're burning, because, you look at these top guys, they are putting out some high energy outputs. You can't take that much in your gut, and your body's not going to be able to. So really, the idea is you're just keeping the tank as full as you can while you're racing. So that's when we get into probably what your body can handle.
Yeah.
So I guess...
What does science say?
There's some pretty clear guidelines now that the studies have shown. So we would recommend to everyone that's doing, that marathon distance, 2 to 6 hour events, depending on your pace, 60 to 90 grams is probably the safe recommendation. How they got to that number is, this is a little more geeky, but it's quite interesting. So if we delve into that 60 to 90 grams, it works out to be that previously, I mean, I don't actually know how far back we have to go, but early sports science was saying that around that 60 was maxing out. So you could have 60 grams an hour. That's about it. It's about a gram a minute, works out to be. And they found that that's because there's a little transporter in your gut that deals with glucose, which is one of the carbohydrates, a sugar that you're using. At 60 grams an hour, that little taxi that helps that get into your body is full. There's no more. That's about all you can do.
Yeah, sorry. And this is grams of carbs we're talking about.
Grams of carbs, yeah.
Most gels, chews, drink mixes will have that grams of carbs on it, so you're able to find that.
Yeah. So the gels, I mean, this is all stuff we're going to go into today, but the gels do it simply for you, and we can explain at the end that, this is stuff that you probably don't have to worry about. Once you get the right sort of ratios, you're free and home, and you don't have to think about this too much. This is more for us to explain, and then the reason behind you doing it. So yeah, 60 was what they thought was the max, because that fills up that glucose transporter, can't take any more. Bit later, they found out that if you have a mix of glucose and fructose, so another sugar, there's actually another transporter in your gut that deals with fructose. So you can have your glucose transporters full, and the fructose one adds in some more sugar. So with the 60 grams of glucose plus another 30 with the fructose sensors, you're up around that 90. So that's basically where we're sitting. There's lots of evidence, lots of research behind this that around that 60 to 90 is pretty safe. There's obviously individual variation. You're going to get maybe some bigger bodied people are going to be able to handle a little bit more. There's people that are on the lighter side, but that recommendation is pretty safe. Yeah,
exactly. And another thing we'll talk about a bit more later is you almost have to train a little bit to start accommodating that amount of grams of carbs. Get used to it. You want to be using these in training to then use them in racing.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, when we come up with those recommendations, the idea is that if you're going beyond that, the risk is gastrointestinal distress. So it's coming out one way. Your body can't digest that, and while you're running, the body goes, all right, if I'm not able to digest it, I need to get rid of it. So it comes out one end. So the recommendations, the idea is that's to keep you fueled, but not to cause any issues. So, around that area should keep you safe, but training it does make a difference, like you said.
Yeah, 100%. Going on about the grams of carbs per hour, we are seeing some guys push up 120 grams of carbs per hour, and some research, is starting to look at that. I think that's still pretty early on in the piece.
I think it's, like you're seeing it a lot in cycling, like a lot of the Tour de France teams, they're going up, the guys are talking about doing 120 grams an hour, which, if you look at a gel and work that out, that's 4 or 5 gels an hour, which, I mean, I know I couldn't do that, just even taste-wise, but it's a lot. The research maybe hasn't necessarily caught up saying that that's required. The fact that Tour de France teams are doing it maybe indicates that there's something in it, because they're often ahead of the curve with stuff like that. But the research isn't backing it up yet. But that's not surprising. Like, that happens a lot where training theory is well ahead of the research, but maybe we'll get there, and in 4 years' time we'll be saying, you need to be throwing in a lot more carbs. But I don't think at this stage it necessarily indicates that that's the case. Maybe for the odd athlete here and there they can handle it, but it seems to be that much over that 90 is not getting digested.
Yeah, and there's many ways to take in it as well. We've mentioned gels. There are bars, there are chews, fluid gels now, which are a more liquidy mix with it, and drink mixes as well. Do you think there's one better than the other, or it's a bit horses for courses?
For sure, it's horses for courses, and I think this is the bit where it gets a little confusing in retail stores. And you come into a running store and you see there's a chew, there's a bar, if you really want to break it down, you want to look at that, how many carbs you're getting. And how you get it is up to you. So I know for me, I prefer gels because it's a packet about this big. I can stuff it in my running shorts and off I go. Drinks are arguably a little easier to digest, but I very rarely run with a bottle. So that rules out that one. And then chews, I find for longer events or ultras, chews are nice, just texture-wise. It basically is the same as a gel, just with a different texture. So if you'd prefer to chew something, you've got to chew.
Yeah, my recommendation to people would be figure out what you like and how to consume it. So if it's a gel in running, great, use that. And then figure out what consistency of gel you like. Mm-hmm. If you can't take gels, well, maybe then look at chews, because you can also get that kind of 24 to 30 grams of carbs per serve using the chews. And then if that's the way you can get it in, use that. If you're lucky enough, to be at the front of a marathon where you're having your bottles handed to you, or in an ultra where you can carry bottles, then as you mentioned, drink mixes are such a great way to get in the fuel needed. And I know Pure Sports Nutrition, they're making a 90 gram carb drink mix. Scratch is up there at 100 grams per serve as well in their drink mixes, and a few of the others are up there as well. So you're almost getting your whole nutritional needs in one drink bottle, you know, and so it's really easy in that aspect. Yeah.
And well, you did a 70.3 on the weekend. What did you fuel with? I assume you did a bit of a mix of both. So it's a real world example here.
Exactly, real world example. I was out there for a bit over 4.5 hours, and in the swim, I was just drinking a bit of seawater. But once I got on the bike, I was able to use the bottles, and so I was fueling with a drink mix during that. I was using about 50 grams of carbs per serve, all measured out, supplemented with gels, because a bit like you, I like taking in gels. Maybe I'm a bit old school, but I do enjoy that. And then when I got onto the run, I couldn't really stomach much. So it was one gel was all I was able to force down myself on the run. But yeah, it was a combination of drink mixes because I could take it. It was easy on the bike. And then when I was running, have that gel, which I knew had 24 grams of carbs in the one shot.
But I think even that, just saying like you had to change it from bike to run, I think that's a fair point that people need to take into consideration with all your fueling is on the bike, your gut's not bouncing. You're not, you're pretty static. You can take in a lot more, but if you're going from a bike to a run, then you're bouncing up and down. There's a lot more heat produced with running, which is another big factor of how much your stomach can sort of handle, because if the blood flow is going to your skin to cool you down, it's not going to your gut. So, there's these guidelines, but then there's a lot of flexibility and things on the day that can change it. So.
And individual needs and wants, as we say, like you got to train it. So try lots of different things, I think. Okay, we've got that 60 to 90 grams of carbs now. That's where we know we're at. And then, as I keep saying, figure out, do you like a gel? Do you like a drink mix? Do you like the mix? Or what event are you doing? Okay, for a marathon, I'll just take in gels myself. Because, as you say, super easy to carry.
Very easy. Yeah. Unless you've got an elite start, that's what you're going to be stuck with.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'm starting to take them, at a point where I can take in some fluid afterwards. So I know, okay, there's going to be an aid station every 5K. I'll start taking in a gel at about 4K mark. Takes me a K to consume that gel, and then I can get a drink of water to help me wash it all down. it's a bit of pre-planning, but I think once you get that 60 to 90 grams of carbs sorted, and then you figure out, okay, this is what I like, then you can go, this is what works for me.
Yeah. Well, I guess we've spoken a lot about sort of what we recommend in terms of carbs, like how, when we're coming into a retail store and looking at the wall and seeing all these things, how easy is it to work this out? Is it, is it on the gels? Do you have to do a bit of maths here, or is this something we can quickly work out? Or when you walk into a store, so a customer can go, all right, this is what I need.
Yeah. On some of the gels, it's really easy. So the really easy ones, Precision Fuel and Hydration, they have Precision 30. That means it's 30 grams of carbs. That one's a winner.
Yeah. I like that because I'm not great at maths.
Their Precision 90 gel. Stu, can you guess how many grams of carbs has got in it?
Yeah, I've got one of those big packs. They were actually really good.
Yep, exactly. So for some of them, it's really easy. Otherwise, flip it over and have a look. A lot of them are kind of between that 20 to 30 mark. This is for gels I'm talking about, 20 to 30 grams of carbs. So you're probably going to need 2 to 3 per hour once you get up to that marathon, kind of distance. And then, hopefully you can do some simple maths in your head when you're standing in front of the nutrition wall.
Yeah. But you don't want to be trying to do that in the marathon, believe me.
No, you want this sorted before. Yeah. It needs to be sorted in training. Yeah. I think I keep saying training.
Well, also I think, going back to when I was saying the glucose-fructose ratio, which all sounds very complicated and stuff, the gels have done the maths for you. I know there's a couple of brands that even listed on the front that they've got that ratio of 1 to 0.8 glucose to fructose, which is exactly what you want. But all the brands sort of have that covered, so you don't actually need to worry about that. You've just really got to look that you're getting enough for what you're doing. Yeah.
So another question we've got is how many gels for a marathon? One, it means how long are you going to take in the marathon?
Yep.
And then 2, are you newer? If you're newer, I would take on the lower end of that 60 to 90, so I'd probably be leaning more towards the 60.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a bit more, experienced and you've been taking nutritional, you can start pushing up to that 90. So for you, you're doing in about 2 hours 30.
Yeah, intensity. I think,
yep.
For someone that's casually, I don't know if you can say casually with a marathon, but
casually running a marathon.
Casually doing a sort of a 5-hour marathon. So maybe you're a 4-hour marathoner and you just want to go out and do the Disneyland marathon for fun. If you're doing it, one of these slower races that you're just doing for a bit of fun, definitely sway towards the lower end. You're not burning that high rate of carbs, so you can definitely go lower end. If you're going to race it, you're going for a PB. You're sitting right up near your lactate threshold sort of thing for 95% of it for whatever 2 hours, 3 hours. Like that's when I'd say I'd be trying to get close as I can to that 90.
Yeah. So for me, I would about 2 hour 45 for a marathon. I don't push up the high end of the 90 myself. I probably sit on the slightly lower end of 60. I just know that functions better for me in training. So I'm probably trying to take about 2 gels an hour, which is easy early and can get harder. As you say, that intensity.
Yep.
When you're running at intensity, it's harder later. But yeah, I would probably take about 4 or 5 gels in a marathon myself.
Yeah, which is I think that, I'd be somewhere around that. I've definitely had runs where the gut has gone on me and what was meant to be 5 gels has ended up being 2 gels and you death march that one home and you've got a 1,000-mile stare by the time you finish. But yeah, it goes back to, we've said it a few times, but practicing, training, it's as much as you're training your legs, you want to be training your gut.
Yeah, and I think it is important in long runs to get those race pace efforts, taking nutrition down so that come race day, you've got it all sorted and dialed in. And as we said, you don't have to think about, how many grams of carbs is this?
Yeah, you just have, whether you go by every 6K or, every 40 minutes or whatever, you just have you can set alarm, like you mentioned the Chorus before. I know I've had a food alarm set up in my watch for races, for a couple of the longer, ultra distance races. You can set up alarm that every half hour, because you'd be surprised how quickly, when you get a little bit low blood sugar, remembering to take a gel can be harder than you think.
Yeah. Another question we've had is, what are electrolytes and why do we need them as well?
Electrolytes, I mean, you can almost do a whole separate thing on this, but I guess once you're getting into your hydration, a lot of people like to separate your nutrition with your hydration, because I guess they technically can sort of function on their own. So electrolytes is basically the salts that you're going to lose in your sweat. So, when you finish a long run in summer and you've noticed that you've got white stains all over your shirt and hat, that's the electrolytes that you've lost. So basically, to stay hydrated, you want to be consuming not just water, which could actually be more dangerous than anything, because that has led to some downsides. Having the salts as well, so the electrolytes in there, is a good way to stay hydrated during a race.
And so there's hydration drinks. We should be taking them before as well as during, obviously.
Yeah, well, I think, is it Precision that they have the preloading? I think you can go on their website and they have a good range of products that we sell, so in the electrolyte stuff, and they explain that they've tested a lot of preloading, so basically in the days leading in, having a bit more electrolytes, so you're actually water loading to a degree, so your blood volume's quite high, so that when you're getting in the race and you start to deplete, you don't actually go so low, or get as dehydrated and depleted. But yeah, back to keeping it sort of separate, there's certain drinks that are a carb and electrolyte mix.
Yep.
There's certain drinks that are just electrolytes. There's certain drinks that are just carbs. So I guess that's another thing when you're looking at these nutrition walls of working out, do you want a all-in-one mix like a Tailwind, which I know is very popular for a lot of the ultra guys. Keeps it very simple. You're getting your carbs and your electrolytes in one, so you're rehydrating and getting your fuel. But then, I know a lot of other guys that like to keep it separate, so you can go, well, I'm not actually dehydrated, I just need the sugar. Or the other way around of like, I'm really dehydrated, but I've already hit my goals with the carbs. So, that's something worth considering.
Yeah. And again, horses for courses in race day. We started, in marathons, and I think more of the having to separate your electrolytes from grams of carbs per hour fueling is a little bit more in that ultra area where, okay, yep, you can get away with it a little bit more and having it separated. You're going to be able to stop, chat with, your crew, and tell them, hey, I am dehydrated here. I need some electrolytes
back up
now. Because, that can be a very long day out there.
For sure.
Recovery shakes as well. A lot of brands do them.
Mm-hmm.
Someone asked, are they worth it? Are they useful?
I mean, I think it's pretty clear that, getting the fuel in as soon as you can, after you finish runs, these longer, harder runs where you're depleting, there's a lot of benefits, It's good for, obviously, your recovery of your muscles, the damaged tissues and everything like that. But also, when you're going to have to back up and perform the next day, you want to replenish that glycogen as quickly as you can, so the stores in your muscles and your liver and everything that's been depleted, it's good for your immune system. So, I think getting in something quickly after a longer or a harder effort for sure is a good idea. I think every runner knows about Chocky Milks. The magic of Choc Milk is that it happened to come out at the exact perfect ratio that science suggests you need for recovery, which is a 4-to-1 carbohydrate to protein ratio. So that just means for every 4 grams of carbs, there's 1 gram of protein. So Chocky Milk managed to nail that ratio somehow.
Well done.
And then recovery drinks have come out that do it for you. So a lot of the recovery drinks we sell are going to have, other things, like they're going to have your electrolytes and stuff like that, which will have a little added benefit.
Yep.
But getting in something after a run, very important. Usually within that sort of first hour and a half before you can, everything settles down and you can get a proper meal in.
Yeah, I think ideally the research says within about half an hour, if you can get something in, which can sometimes be hard if you've done a long run, and you're a bit far from home. So having those either recovery shakes, or if you're driving past a servo to get that Chocky Milk,
exactly.
It's instantly there, bang, I finish my run, shake it up, have a drink.
I know for me in summer, I struggle to eat after hard runs. So that's where, these shakes and drinks, I find them really beneficial because, I know that I'm going to finish a run feeling pretty sick and hot and bothered. And, while you're cooling down, if you can just be sipping on something like this, it can make a big difference, in the training over the next few days.
Yeah. So another question we've had is, what do we use? So Stu, when you're out on a long run or a long race, what do you use?
We have a lot of gels in store, and I reckon I'll work my way through a lot of them, which hopefully I'll prove that once we get to the taste test. Because
we are going to do a taste test here to see how well we know the gels. So I've got 4 on this side, which Stu's going to try, and I know what they are, and I believe Stu's got 4 on that side for me. So we'll see how we go with the taste test.
But I use, generally for like a lot of my long runs and my harder, longer efforts, I'll be using gels. Like I said, I don't carry bottles with me. I run along the coast here where there's plenty of drink fountains and stuff like that. So I don't really need that, but I carry gels. I really like the Precision 30. Once again, simple maths. I think the plain flavour on that one's quite good. And I like the pure liquid gels. I find the texture of those nice. It goes down quick. Like, I don't want to have to think about it and try chew down this. I'm sure it's a lovely flavour, some of them, but I just want it down in one go, throw it in the bin and move on. I've been using a lot of the Precision liquids lately. Yeah.
So I am a pure fan myself. I've tried a lot of things. I am on their race fuel, as I mentioned. I used that during the half Ironman. I did drink mix because I can get towards that 90 grams of carbs in an easy to get down. I flip and flop between a liquid gel and a more traditional thicker gel.
Yeah, you were off the liquids initially.
I was, but I found on the bike they're really easy to get down. But I think when I'm running, I do like to go back to a traditional gel. So the pure traditional gels I do like. I have taken Morton as well, which seems to be a very, very popular one. They do a drink mix as well, which has some really nice. I think that's got about 80 grams of carbs per serving. They're 320 and about 39 in their 160. So again, that's pretty easy.
Which was, I guess we should go into the fact that Morton was famously the breaking to Kipchoge fuel. They invented it for him.
Yeah,
that was the first time that they started maybe in runners pushing those carbohydrates higher.
And the higher carbohydrates really focusing on getting it in. So that's what we kind of use. Let's have a taste test, shall we?
Yep, let's do it.
Okay. You want to go first?
I will, yeah. I'm pretty happy with my picks for you because I picked them out of the store, ones that I'm sure you haven't tried.
All right, let's see. Number 1 for Stu.
Oh, I can smell what this one is. This is easy. This has got to be an Untapped.
So, yep, Untapped, Running Warehouse exclusive in Australia.
That's Untapped plain maple syrup.
It's not.
Let me try again. Is it the chocolate one?
It is the chocolate one. It is the Untapped
Big
cocoa.
Fan of this one. Yep. If you like pancakes, chocolate chip pancakes, it's basically chocolate chip pancakes.
Would you put an Untapped gel on pancakes?
100%. I would do that. I think the interesting thing about Untapped is being that it's basically pure maple syrup. Yep. And it's, a bit like the chocolate milk. It was kind of just luck of the draw that the ratios of glucose to fructose just naturally are pretty good.
It's right in that sweet spot.
In maple syrup.
Exactly. So. All right, number two for Stu. Here we go.
This is also very sweet. I've just realised how sweet these are when you're not running.
Let's hope you go for a run this Arvo.
Oh. I have not. Oh, I may have had this one. SIS.
He doesn't even have the brand.
I don't think I've had this one.
All right, it is a pure fluid. Can you get the flavour at least?
I think it's throwing me off seeing the colour because you never see a gel. Lemon.
Peach.
Okay. So technically I didn't get that really close.
All right, number three for Stu.
Oh, this one looks thick.
He should know.
I need
this.
A spoon for this.
He should know this one. Stolen my spoon, but that's okay.
It could be Morton or it could be Precision at this thickness. Precision 30. Can't tell if it's caffeine or not.
Precision 30, it's not caffeinated. I wouldn't do that to you.
All
right, and last one.
That's not. That's a lot less sweeter. How thick's this one?
You may have have to have a spoon for that one.
Yes, I do.
All right, here we go.
Oh, I reckon I've had this.
I think you have as well.
It's goo or hammer.
It's Goo. I'll give it to you. You can't throw them all the brands out there, but it is Goo.
It's a thicker one. It tastes a little bit like icing. It's a vanilla. Is it birthday cake?
You're not even close.
It's not vanilla?
No.
What is it? I don't know. I'm done.
Strawberry banana. Yep.
Oh, well, it's good. I think
Don't keep eating them.
this was the first gel I ever had as well.
Goo or strawberry banana flavoured Goo?
Strawberry banana goo.
And you can remember it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if I can get
move
them.
mine out of the way.
Yeah. Let's not get them mixed up.
All right.
All right. Where am I starting?
Check.
Do I need a spoon?
You shouldn't, but I don't know. Let me just check my notes to see which order you're going in here. Yep.
Oh, that one is genuinely tough. It's unflavoured, I would say. Maybe a precision flow or something like that.
No. Do you want to know?
I do.
SAS.
Oh,
Fruit salad.
fruit salad. Oh, that's quite nice, actually.
Yeah, I've used that one quite a bit. I quite like that. A little bit more liquidy.
Yeah, not much flavour to it either, which I think during a run as well is almost a thing you want, because as you're going deeper into a training or a race, that flavour fatigue can really become.
And that goes back to that's kind of why I like the fluidy ones, because I think they go down quicker. You almost get them past your taste, and it's just straight down.
Is this a caffeinated one?
No.
Oh, that's just maple syrup.
It's the right brand. It's untapped.
So it's not just the maple syrup.
No, I haven't had this one, so actually.
Surely it's raspberry or salted lime.
Citrus.
Citrus.
Yep.
Not salted lime, is it?
Oh, it might be. Oh, man. This is taking. Yeah, I didn't write it down exactly. This one looks good.
Okay.
Also, I haven't had this one before.
Is it Goo?
Correct?
I want to say chocolate outrage.
Looks like a chocolate outrage.
I don't think it's birthday cake.
No, I think birthday cake's like vanilla.
Oh, don't be like that. Oh,
I can smell what it is.
you know what it is. I want to say chocolate outrage, but
It is Roctane coconut. Alright, and last one. I just picked all ones that I haven't had for you, so you may have used all of these.
I don't think I've used that many of them. All right, well, this one's liquidy. All I can taste is the chocolate coconut now. We didn't think this through. We needed a palate cleanser.
Needed a cleanser.
I want to say pure or Goo liquid.
Fix.
Fix?
Raspberry Fix. Yeah. So
I almost did that one for you as well.
Yeah, Fix have some interesting flavours. I've only tried a couple of them.
Yeah. That one is strong, but it's also more liquidy than I thought it would be as well.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay, I think we sucked.
Yeah, it's harder than you think. I went into this very confident, but turns out my tongue's not that good.
No, maybe we need to do a blindfolded shoe test next time to see if we can pick up.
I think we'll be better at that.
Yeah.
I think we'll be better at that.
I'm not sure we will be. Okay, so we've gone through some new releases in footwear. We've gone through the basics of nutrition, how many grams of carbs you should be having per hour.
Yep.
When you get in front of that nutrition wall, if you've never experienced that before, Try and grab a few things which you think you would like to start off with. You definitely need to test them in training.
Yep.
Beforehand, so you know how your body's going to respond. Figuring out whether you're a more traditional, thicker gel, whether you're like the fluidy, liquidy type gels, whether you're not a gel person at all and you're having the choose.
Like the taste test we've just done, like we have in our retail stores on the weekends, we'll set up, tastings and stuff like this. So if you don't want to have to buy a whole 24 pack of gels or something to try them, like come in and try some gels and we'll help you sort of find something that's going to at least work for you for as long as you can tolerate it.
Yep, there'll be samples of drink mixes and gels and different bars and things like that. So yeah, you can see kind of what they taste like at the very least. And then just a little announcement as well. The Ballarat Marathon I mentioned at the start. Running Warehouse Australia, we're just going to be the major sponsor of that for the next 3 years, I believe, Stu.
Very exciting.
Yep.
It's a cool race.
It's an unbelievable race.
Home of running in Australia.
Exactly.
Mona's hometown there.
Yep.
I think that'd be good. I mean, it's a young marathon. We've seen the announcement of Sydney being a major, world marathon major. So, marathoning's going to be very popular in Australia, and I think there's going to be a lot of people looking for a race in Australia where they can run fast. And
Melbourne Marathon just sold out within a day.
Yeah. So marathoning's it's in.
Yep. Exactly.
Very exciting to be part of it.
Yeah. Exactly. I think this is the second year. This will be the second year of the Ballarat Marathon, and they're looking to get some fast Australians in and fast internationals in and run some good times.
Well, I think it was pretty quick last year. In its first year, it started off reasonably fast. I think it was Tommy DeCanto took the win.
Yep.
In a pretty swift time. So, I think with another year to build on it, they could have a really cool marathon there.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. It's going to be a good one out in Ballarat in April, and I think if you don't have a marathon planned for that time of the year, head out there. They haven't made it too challenging. I think it's a reasonably fast course, as you mentioned. So, and some cool conditions, which for a marathon you don't want it too hot. Especially,
I think, good time of year training through summer. You get a lot of those heat benefits from training, and you can rock up to a cool marathon and run quite well. So, yeah, they've stayed away timing wise. They've got a bit of clean air. So, people looking for a marathon early in the year, it's going to be a pretty awesome one for a lot of people.
Yep, exactly. All right, so that has been the second Runners Series Running Warehouse Australia Community Talk with myself, Nathan, and Stu. If you have any more questions, email us at info@runningwarehouse.
Oh, actually, my mum she texted me a question.
Do you want to ask that now?
Yeah, I guess I should. She asked if fueling's different for different age groups. Oh. She said, at her age, does she need to be fueling different, or are jelly beans just as good? I think I just replied to her, I don't think fueling is age dependent. So you can listen back and go with the same results as everyone else.
Well, if you're everyone else, email us in at info@runningwarehouse.com.au. If you're Stu's mum, just keep texting him and asking questions.
Yeah.
As I said, that's been the second Runner Series on nutrition. Head over to, where are we putting this up?
YouTube.
It's going up on YouTube, exactly. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe now. Otherwise, we'll see you on the next one.